What's one thing about the recruitment industry you hope never changes?
The characters.
The lunatics within it.
What's the biggest challenge facing the recruitment industry in 2026?
The obsession around taking the human element out of what we do.
I think, well, at the moment, the world.
AI.
I knew you'd say that.
Any habit from a top biller? Great question.
Welcome back to the Carrot and Stick podcast. Now, this episode is a little bit different to what you're used to. Last month, we exhibited at the Recruitment Agency Expo in London, which is where the industry's best leaders, most experienced billers, and sharpest thinkers all gather together under one roof each year. We grabbed our mics and asked a bunch of recruitment experts a range of questions about what matters most right now, from industry challenges and changes to AI, how you'd start an agency in this climate, and plenty more. So let's get into it. We started off with a zinger of a first question. Let's have a look at what our experts had to say.
First one is, if you could take any habit out of a top biller's brain and put it into a rookie, what would that habit be?
That building relationships element, that is where I see the top billers are just they're special in that element.
What do you think rookies struggle with that? Is it struggling to get on the level of the person they're trying to speak to? Why is it they struggle with that more so than others?
Confidence training, understand the process. You know, sometimes it's not an immediate win. Some things, these can be a longer burn sometimes, right? So just making people sure that the rookies kind of understand that, so that they're prepared for the knockbacks that you get, because you do get those, and being able to sort of deal with them and use them constructively to be better in the next call.
Consistency. Times are good, times are bad. They deliver the same thing because they know it will work. Rookies frit from one thing to another, panicking, whereas the best people tend to be completely consistent.
And when you say consistent, do you mean activity? Do you mean revenue?
Activity. Because you can't... Consistency with revenue is more out of your control. Consistency of activity is not. So, and if you are consistent in activity, you will naturally become consistent in revenue.
Makes total sense.
I think something that's really underrated is curiosity. I think anyone can kind of come and do recruitment, but if you're really interested in connecting the dots, you're going to get so much more out of your market and kind of make your life easier in the long run.
Relationships all the way. I get recommended every day. I've placed people who got sacked, but they still went on and got jobs elsewhere, and they recommended me. I've placed people in top organization who brought me in as a partner. I've placed people in small companies, and they still came back for me. In working in big enterprise companies, there's so much pressure about going in every day, how many calls, how many this, how many that, how many that. But if you just spend 10 minutes talking to people in a personal level, getting to know them, this is 100% the key to success, because they will come back for you. If it's not today, if it's not tomorrow. I've been chasing a client for 5 years, and I finally signed an agreement with them, and they are one of the biggest technology company globally. Takes time, show up consistently, build a relationship, and it will come back.
Not being afraid of the phones, to be honest. Building relationships is the most important thing for me now in the recruitment sector. We've got AI that's coming in, and it's doing a lot of the repetitive work. It's doing some of the transcription, some of the work for us, and automation as well. But I still think core, fundamentally, human wants to speak to a human, and I think that's what's really important. Just not be afraid, and also not be afraid to go to client meetings. People want to see people.
Do you think there's fear of being out of the office and not being seen to be busier on the phones that scares them to not go to client meetings, or they just can't be asked?
I think it is actually a fear of doing things like this, networking. And, a lot of the people that are the younger age groups that we work with probably came through COVID at formative times as well in their career.
True.
And so there shouldn't be a fear, certainly, because it's positively encouraged in our organisation.
I think consistency is the key thing. Sticking to a routine day in, day out, week in, week out is probably the biggest thing I'd say, yeah.
So for me, it'd be the commercial efficiency. I think that's a really important habit for top billers that I'd like to see more in more junior members of staff. When it comes to a process that isn't working well for them, they're very quick and honest about what isn't working, whereas you often see other people just too quick to follow what is the process and what they're being told to do.
How do you go about taking that commercial, so like commercial like acumen, you might want to call it, right? How do you build that into Rookie? How do you help them understand?
So I think it's important for them to understand where they're using their time, but also what's available for them to use that time more effectively. I think we often focus on too many metrics at the same time, and I think making sure that there's a consolidated view and what kind of builds up into the commercial values, making sure they understand that it is more than just one number's got to be higher, that there are multiple factors that impact that.
What I loved about these answers is that there was nothing flashy or crazy in there. It can be summarized as being consistent with the basics, proactively building relationships, being confident and curious in the day-to-day, and just flat out being willing to work hard. We've spoken to leaders on the podcast before who spoke about the importance of routine and discipline. No surprises that these guys all felt the same. Now, the next question felt particularly relevant given the rise of AI. What's one thing about the industry that you hope never changes?
It's about people. Also, we can have the best tech in the world. We can, have the best tools, have AI agents running left, right, centre. But ultimately, it is about people, and that's the valuable thing. People build our relationships, trust. It's a huge thing, and if you can be on top of that, then you're in a great place.
The lunatics within it.
Like yourself?
Yes. No, so I like the personality. I think there's such a push towards AI at the moment that we could lose the human element of it, and I think that'd be a real shame, because people buy from people, people engage with people, and you can have fun helping people, which, if it's all done by AI, would disappear, and that'd be a shame.
It has to be the people connections. There has to be, the want to still have meaningful relationships and connections, and not just replace everything with AI.
I think, again, I would go back to the human touch, because everybody just putting so much pressure, excuse my French, shoving up AI in our throat. AI this, Gemini, ChatGPT, Cloud, Practicability, you name it. But what we're missing here is I come to you, you came to me to talk to me because you thought I'm a good person to talk to.
You look fun when I was sat over there, yeah.
So it's all about human touch. Speak, talk, reach out, say hello, whether there's a business, there's no business, always connect.
The characters. One of the reasons I love the industry are the people that I work with, and that comes from the C-suite down to the cheeky guys in the contracts.
Like me.
Yeah. Oh, you're a supplier, so I have to be more polite to you.
The need for pharmaceutical products.
Easy one.
I hope that the connectivity of the recruitment industry never changes. It is a really welcoming industry. There are so many people that have worked across different recruitment tools together, that have worked at different agencies together, but also people that have nothing to do with each other, that are willing to share tips, what's working. I really hope that never changes, that people share tips.
People. You'd think they'd all heard the other person before them answer the question, right? I've long said the one thing that AI can never do is look someone in the eye, smile, and shake their hand. True relationships are built by people, not by robots, and that's where the best recruiters will always have an edge. It comes back to what we heard in our first question as well. Proactive relationship building, curiosity, and hard work will always win the day. In the next question, we flipped the script and asked what's one thing that everyone hopes does change in the future. Here's what they had to say.
All those time-consuming elements that really don't need to be done, all those tasks that you can kind of actually quite easily delegate to a bit of tech to cover off most of it, so you can actually focus on that relationship building side of things.
The crap that's in the market, the CV throwers, they go. They give us all a bad name. There is a professional element of recruitment and there is a non-professional element of recruitment, and I would quite like the professional element of recruitment to be the one that people are talking about. Whereas, of course, typically if you ask about recruiters, we're all scumbags. And why are we all scumbags? Because of the non-professional element.
Can we make all recruiters have the mindset of ops people, please? Like highly organised, diligent, attention to detail, but alongside with all the sales stuff.
Hard battle, that sounds like.
Look, it's a work in progress, always. It's possible, though, it's possible.
I believe 100% AI is not the enemy. So everybody is trying to get you to use AI in the wrong way. I think AI is a great thing to use. I think it's really helpful. I use it in the safest way possible to screen hundreds of candidates. I use it to find the right targets, to filter through millions of CVs on the internet. I use it in the right possible way. And you can use it, it's not the enemy, but not to replace us as human.
I've got to say it, it's got to be embracing the technology, because that's where my passion is, that's where my passion lies. I'm a geek, I want a clean data space, I want it to be automated, I want it to be looking beautiful. And I think that a lot of people that actually work in recruitment in the front office don't really still understand the value of that. So that would be my one thing, like, please guys, the revenue that you can get out of this is incredible.
The necessity for AI and the obsession around taking the human element out of what we do.
Do you think that's going to be something that slowly fades away, or do you think it's only getting worse in terms of the hype around AI?
I hope that it fades away. I think it's new, isn't it? And it's a buzzword. Lots of people are talking about it. I think, and the conversations that I'm having, is that people feel similar to me, and that it will revert back to, well, old school, I guess.
It's not so much that it's run its course, but more people have gone, oh God, shiny, exciting thing, and have jumped on it, and are now realising it's not quite all it's cracked up to be, right?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Sometimes with the recruitment industry, it's not given the same level of respect as other industries, and you could say to an extent this is fair, because there are some systems that we're not as well established with as other industries, but I think this is really starting to change. So recruitment industry are getting more established processes. I think we're also as well getting more expert in some of the roles that exist. So I really hope it starts to shift. The same level of respect is given to recruitment as we often see with other industries.
I thought there was a real mix of responses in there. Some calling for agencies to embrace technology, some for them to lean away from it, and others just flat out hoping the industry becomes more intensely focused on relationships. Me too. My perspective is that no one is really wrong in what they've said either, but the right approach to all of these areas is what's really key. Use AI for the work that gets in the way of consultants spending more time with candidates and clients, avoid using AI where a human touch is essential, and avoid relying on it to spam the market with CVs and emails that just simply don't land. Now, the last few years, as we'll all know, has been tough for many in the industry. We were curious what our experts thought of what the next 12 months have in store for us, and here's what they had to say.
Put the markets aside and all the rest of the stuff that's going out there, I think what businesses need to be doing is data is key. It's almost become like oil, in honesty, to kind of it's that value. So being on top of your data, understanding where you're performing well, where your weaknesses are, being on top of that, and then also then being able to identify where the savings and opportunities are when it comes to AI, because that's a journey that we're all on, regardless of what your views are on it.
I think, well, at the moment, the world. The world is so turbulent that I think that's the biggest issue currently. But I think people misusing AI is actually a challenge. A lot of people are getting distracted by the noise of it and actually implementing it in ways that are in no way beneficial at all. So I would say actually what could be the greatest strength could also arguably be the greatest sort of red herring.
I think there is a lot of noise around tech and taking out that kind of more junior layer in all of the industries that we're working in. So yeah, I think people just having a bit of fear around that and just kind of maybe gaining a bit more knowledge around it, so we can just start to move through the noise a bit more. And I think we still need to bring junior people both into our industry and recruit them into the industries that we're working into, because everyone needs to start somewhere, and otherwise we're just going to end up kind of with that lacking bottom layer.
Are you worried at all that AI is going to kind of like air quotes kill the junior consultant layer? It takes away the more transactional things people do when they're trying to learn the role of it further.
I wouldn't say worried. I think it's something that we just need to be mindful of, not leaning to replacing with tech where we can kind of take a more human approach to it. I think recruitment's always going to be such a human-focused industry that we need to be upskilling people, bringing people in, otherwise we're just going to end up with not enough people to kind of step into those more senior recruitment seats down the line.
Yeah.
I knew you'd say that.
Because obviously it's good for a small business like myself, boutique agency, because now the difference between enterprise companies and small agency, they always had the chances of massive marketing team, massive sales team, massive this, massive that, and they had so much opportunities. Now us using AI, we can go way and beyond that step. We can reach out doors that we never thought we could. And companies are choosing to work with small companies, niche specialism than the big enterprise companies. And if you use AI the right way, it will help. However, in the flip side, there are so many people unfortunately losing their jobs due to that. Because if you're going to use one AI to deliver 4 jobs, why would you want to hire 4 people?
Yeah.
I would say, and especially young adults. Young adults are the ones really suffering at the moment because nobody wants to pay £1,000 a month to somebody who doesn't know nothing to train them. But at the same time, I would say to people not to rely on AI because AI is 90% wrong still. Maybe in 4 years' time it will be very accurate, but at the moment still, it gives you altering data, it's very biased, and it puts you in the really wrong corners if you rely on it. So humans all the way.
Again, I'm going to come from a tech perspective. I think there is a lot of noise out there about AI at the moment. I think, yes, it's good and it does save time. We just need to make sure that time is used productively. And also, I think that AI, from my experience, just isn't quite there yet.
And I agree as well. I think, I spoke to someone about this earlier on, actually, very weirdly. I asked this question, they said the same thing. At the minute, it's like there's been so much noise about it, but the reality isn't quite meeting the hype.
Yeah, exactly. And we've tried some products as well, and we've turned them down. It's got to be a really good quality product. So we have got a couple of AR products that we use, and they are fantastic. But we have trialed a lot.
Name them, what are they?
So Odro is CV Assist, and then we've got it's not called Quill anymore. Co-Recruit we use as well. So yeah, so they're really good products that we use.
Probably competition in a good way, but because there's so much competition on newer products, it's kind of sifting through the noise, working out what actually does what it says it's going to do and what is just kind of skimmed over the top, you know. So
The biggest challenge at the moment for recruitment agencies is a lack of clarity, often around technology. There are lots of opinions out there, there are lots of tools making claims as well, and I think it can be very difficult to understand what's real, and if you're using the same definition as someone else. So I think it's important that people have the ability to research deeply, but also interrogate the tools that you're working with to make sure that they are providing you the right answer. And if they're summing something up in 30 seconds, make sure that it is properly referenced and it is answering the question you're really asking.
I don't expect these answers come as a big surprise, to be honest. AI is still very, very early on in its developmental journey. It gets things wrong. It doesn't always do what it promises to, but everyone is increasingly aware of how huge its impact will be when it hits maturity. I especially share Amber's concern there, and her answer was very, very poignant. What happens if AI removes the junior layer in various industries? It's something I spoke about before, I believe, on this podcast. That layer is very essential to developing new talent, and we could find ourselves with a real serious skill shortage if we're not careful. One to think about, for sure. We did, though, want to end on a positive note to round things up. So we asked our experts what advice they'd give to someone looking to start an agency today. Here's what they had to say.
Strong process, absolutely. Be clear on kind of what you want to achieve. Start with your business objectives and work backwards from there in terms of filtering that down into the tech, the people, the systems, everything that you then need to support that growth journey. Start from your business objectives and then you can figure out what tech and what process you need to follow from there.
Make sure you know what you're doing before you do it. So build out your market, build out your contact base, get a niche before you do it and become established in it, because your job is going to be infinitely harder if you haven't done that.
Keep it simple to start with. You don't need all the tech, you don't need to spend loads of money up front, just connections, loads of conversations with players in the market, even if you're not immediately trying to see the fee from them. So anyone that's got any insight to offer you, market insight, referrals, anything like that, just keep it simple, pick up the phone.
Remember the back office and the support functions that you need as well. So I think if somebody's starting up 1, 2, 3-man band, they don't quite realise the support from the marketing team, from the finance team, for the compliance team, depending on whichever sectors you're working in, contract more for the compliance side of things. So remember that there is a whole load of other things that go on rather than just billing.
pick a niche, stick to it, and attack it hard.
And how would you advise they go about doing that?
Brand yourselves as that's your specialism. That's what you do. pick your target audience, your target market, identify what that customer looks like, and be consistent with it.
So if someone was starting a recruitment agency today, I would say carefully plan what your process needs to be. I think we've seen a lot of founders come unpicked to a certain extent, or cause themselves more problems later on down the line because they've pieced together a stack that doesn't really naturally work together, or they've put a sticking plaster over something. So I'd say it's now been never easier to sit down, properly plan what you need your systems to be able to do to support your sales efforts, and create a really clean system that works well together.
Many of these answers stress the basics. The biggest one being to identify the niche that you're going to specialize in, truly look to understand it, then keep it simple yet high quality with a well understood process. I think that's true of any business in any sector, so no surprise that this is the top advice coming out of these conversations. But with all that said, that's it for today's episode. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a review, share it with someone in your network, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. It genuinely makes a difference and helps us reach more people in the industry. We'll be back again soon enough with more conversations and insights from top recruitment leaders, and we look forward to seeing you there. Catch you next time.